The belief that individuals have the freedom to define their own existence and give meaning to their lives through their choices and actions, despite the inherent uncertainty and absurdity of the human condition, emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility, authenticity, and the subjective experience of existence. This is the core idea of existentialism. Now, existentialism, finding meaning in this thing called life, might be the reason why we do anything at all, and might be what drives us to do the things that we are currently doing. Finding the meaning. Is it finding the meaning, though, or is it defining the meaning, creating the meaning for yourself? And that is what I want this podcast to be about today. It's another solo podcast. I just did a 117.5 mile run in under 24 hours. So I just kept running, kept putting one foot in front of the other for 24 hours. So why do you do that? People think that's crazy. Some people are like, what are you running from? Some people are thinking like, why do you hurt yourself like that? There's nothing good about that. Some people are like, wow, man, incredible. That's amazing. Like, how did you do that? That's super impressive. That's inspiring. So some people are inspired by that. Some people are like thrown off by that. And some people are like, man, I just have no desire to run. I would never do that. That's so stupid. That's a stupid thing to do. But the question ultimately always comes back around to why would you do that? Why would you run 117.5 miles in under 24 hours? So why would you do that? And that's what I want to explain today. One, I want to explain today why I do ultra endurance stuff, like races, Ironmans, that kind of thing. Why I put myself through all of that. Maybe it's also why the other ultra endurance athletes do it. But also why I think you don't have to be an ultra endurance athlete. You don't have to be super highly trained in running. You don't have to, be capable of even a 5K of running. And I think that you should sign up for one of these 24-hour ultra marathons and just show up, and you should just see how long you can last and just put yourself through something. And yes, it's dangerous. There are dangers that, in injury, and there's dangers and stuff like that. Look, the thing is you should do it. And I want to explain why. I want to explain why it would make sense for you, even if you have no interest in running an ultra marathon, if you have no interest at all in running at all, like why you should actually do that and how it will help you, the utility of doing that for you. So I started with existentialism, the main idea of existentialism, because that's sort of why I do it. That's sort of why I do the ultra marathons, to grow or strengthen the ability that I have to create meaning out of the things I do, to basically strengthen the emotional connection I have with the purpose that I've intentionally set out for. So I've got a couple other things I want to go through afterwards, but let's go in first to the 117.5 miles of running. And I'll do this quick because I don't want to bore you. Although I will say it's profound in its difficulty, and it's insane. So over the weekend, I did 117.5 miles in under 24 hours. You got to run the whole time. This is what it looks like. It starts at 6 p.m. on Friday night. You start running. Sun's right above your head, and you keep running until the sun goes down, and then you keep running till the sun comes back up, and then you keep running until the sun's almost about to go back down again. And then Saturday at 6 p.m., you stop running and you see how far you can go. This particular race, shout out this guy, Jason Connor. He runs a really awesome ultramarathon race called the 24-Hour Lions Roar out in Columbia, Missouri on the, I think it is the Mizzou cross country track. It's a 2.5 mile trail and it's all grass. It's an all grass trail. So you're out there running in the yard for about 24 hours. So that actually makes it a little bit more difficult to cover 100 plus miles because it slows you down, and also it throws your ankles because you don't have like stable ground. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to cover more distance. It makes it a lot more interesting as time goes while you're running for 24 hours. But that's that. Now let me give you my experience of this. I got first place with that distance of the 117.5. I think the second that came under me was 105, but the course record is 125. My goal that I actually set out for when I started training for this was this particular race was 130 miles, so I didn't hit my goals, a little under my goal, but I finished pretty strong, and I paced for 115 because I got the flu 4 weeks ago, and I just thought that I didn't have the volume, I didn't have the training that I needed with getting sick as I did, and the recovery time it took from getting my respiratory system back going to get my volume back up, that I was just like 115 is good. I got 117.5, which I was happy with, but I finished pretty strong, and I could have continued going, but I probably should have paced for 130. That's just me, again, getting in my head about it. But the idea is this. So not the idea, but this was my experience. So basically, we start the race, but before the race, I didn't sleep in the night before. I did not sleep in the night before. The day before, I actually got to bed late. I worked until 9 p.m. on Thursday night, woke up at 4 in the morning on Friday, got to work at 5 a.m., started working. I had a lot to do. We filmed an ad. I had a Maryville lecture. I'm an adjunct professor at Maryville University. Had a film some stuff. Again, I had to do this class. I had to train clients. I had a team development for my trainers. So it's an hour and a half team development that I had to get ready for, put that together. So I also had to do that. I wasn't ready to leave the gym until around 1 p.m. So from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., I was just working straight, getting after it like any day. Right after that, I get home. Thank God I have my wife, shout out. Caitlin Gonzales. I couldn't do half the shit I do without her, but she kind of has some things put together for us. She also did it. She got 32 miles in the 24-hour run, so shout out. That was an awesome accomplishment. She PR'd her distance there. But basically what happened was we both worked our asses off until last minute. We jump in the car. We're driving to the track. It's 2 hours away from here, St. Louis, Missouri. And we realize, one, we're doing a Tough Mudder event next week, that there's a bunch of issues with that. So, like emails need to get sent out. People need to be contacted. Tough Mudder needs to be contacted. So can't just let that go. So we switch sides. My wife jumps in the driver's seat. So now I'm in the car heading to the ultra race. And I'm on my computer. I'm doing work, man. I'm doing work. I'm getting back and forth to people. I'm texting people back and forth, trying to get everything sorted out, putting out the fires, the day-to-day. But it's the day-to-day grind. It still goes. We got scheduling issues, that kind of thing. Good to go. So like on the way there, I'm still dealing with stuff. I'm still going. Mind's still racing. Body's still going. Like blood's pumping, stressed out, all that shit. While I'm doing that, it just comes to mind like, oh, damn, we don't have water bottles, and we don't have headlamps, so we're not prepared. So we're not even fucking prepared. And so we're like, how are we going to do this? We have literally no time, and we hit traffic. And it's like 5 p.m. traffic out on 70. Just can't move at all. Looking at the GPS, it's like we're not going to get there until 9 minutes before the start. So we're not going to be able to set up our station like kind of next to the next to the trail. So trail is a 2.5 mile trail. And the 2.5 mile trail, you just go around in a circle for 6 hours one direction. They switch the direction, 6 hours the opposite direction. Then they switch the direction, 6 hours the opposite direction. They do it 4 times. But you're just going around in a 2.5 mile circle for 24 hours. And so that actually makes it a little easier because you can have your station there, and then that way with all of your nutrition so that you can pick your nutrition up as you go by. I still carried my nutrition because I was doing mildly water intake. So every mile I was taking in a certain amount of ounces in water to kind of disperse the intake. But so I needed to bring my water with me, but we had no water bottles, and I didn't bring my water bottle that goes in my belt. So anyways, we were not prepared. We were. This is just sort of how life goes. You're just never really prepared. It's never really a perfect situation, right? So it didn't really mess with me and Caitlin too much. Was the reason of explaining all of this. It's like this is kind of like just life. It's not gonna really do too much. It's not going to really beat us up. It's kind of like years of doing this stuff where it doesn't totally destroy your mindset, doesn't throw you off your plan. It's like there's these things we'll problem solve. It's not like at the end of the day, it's like we'll problem solve, we'll figure it out. So we did. We figured it out. My wife was like, look, we could just do Walmart. We could just do a Walmart drop-off. So we literally had Walmart drop off water bottles and drop off headlamps. Because it's shit out there if you don't have a headlamp at night. And the night is the hardest part. So, okay, get all that knocked out. We show up. It's 9 minutes before the gun. I put everything in this. We had like a wagon. I shot the wagon over to the side, ran from the car to the wagon. Caitlin runs to the place, gets our registration papers from the little table, runs back over. I put it, connect it to connect my, whatever the hell you call that thing that, just a number, I was 47. So just connect that with the pins, which by the way, how insane is it that it's fucking 2024 in the United States of America? And we still are pinning these fucking numbers to us when we're running with these fucking bobby pins. It's the most insane thing to me. We've not figured out a better way to do this. But in any case, good to go. So I got my pins and I get my number on my leg. Run to the starting line. I had this bottle that was too big for my belt, and then I just filled it up. I filled it up real quick at this water station thing at maybe about a quarter, and then gun goes and I just start running. So did not stretch, was not prepared with everything. So started without water. So maybe about the second round or third round, they dropped off the stuff at the station. Okay. So that's that. That's the start. So that's the start of this race. And I've got my plan down. Now, I was prepared because I've been training for this thing for 5 months, roughly. But I'm always sort of training for this. I'm always sort of training for this so that I can show up to something that's difficult. Okay, so that's that. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of this. And maybe because of all of the ultras that I've done before and all of this type of day-to-day suffering, that I go through to help me train for something like this, that I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the best person in the world at everything. But what I will tell you is that that's not going to really affect me. That kind of thing might make somebody lose their mind. I have to run for 24 hours. I don't even have water. It's going to be nighttime. I'm not going to have a lamp. Oh my God, there's only going to be 9 minutes. We're stuck in traffic. Man, some people might just turn around. Hey, we can't do it. We can't do it. Look, we can't do it. But that didn't even really, which is interesting. I just wanted to pull that up. I wanted to bring that up because afterwards, we talked about that afterwards. I didn't even think about that until after the whole race was over. And I got first place, remember, in something like this, which, by the way, the creatures come out to run these races. So it's kind of interesting. So that's that. The race starts. Now let's talk about the race. Now let's talk about the actual run. So 24 hours, okay? The first 6 hours are hard. They're really difficult. Like the first 6 hours of running nonstop continuously are really difficult. That's where like you go from I don't have pain to I have pain. Somewhere within that first 6 hours, like your ankle starts hurting like really bad, and it feels like something is wrong with your ankle. And your knees start hurting really bad, and it feels like something's wrong with your knee. Like something's like structurally wrong with your knee, and you can't keep moving forward. With anywhere between 1 and 6 hours, like you're going to start feeling this stuff where like the rational mind would be like, quit now. Of course, this pain is quit. That's the message. So you get the message, quit. And you don't. That's important for the first 6 miles. You don't quit. Like you have to keep pushing forward past those first aches and pains that come about that are significant. I had one in my back that started maybe just the second round. So it was like less than 30 minutes. And it was because I didn't stretch and roll. So it was my upper back actually. And my hamstrings were really tight just starting off. And I had my calves were sort of bubbling within the first 5 miles. My calves were bubbling. My hamstrings were tight because I just jumped out of a 2-hour car ride, a 2.5-hour car ride because of traffic, maybe a little more. And literally went from sitting down for 2.5 hours to running. And so my lower back and were already hurting. Within the first 5 miles of running, it was already like a pretty nagging, bad, like deep, almost not like pain in my back, lower and upper. So I got like my knees hurting, my right hip is hurting. My ankles were doing fine actually most of the time. And this race, which I was grateful for. But the pain starts creeping in. Pain starts creeping in. First 6 hours, good to go. Let's get it. So the sun starts going down. After the 6 hours, sun's down. Your headlamp's on. It's midnight. People are still out at midnight. But the darkness makes it so much more difficult. It starts to creep in, the darkness and the tiredness, because without the light, your body's like, hey man, it's time for bed. And so because it's time for bed, you start to really get tired. Like your body's tired, but like you're also just like, hey man, it's nighttime, it's time for bed. Like your brain is like secreting melatonin. Like it's like trying to, hey, kid, you need to go to sleep, bitch. Go to sleep. And you're like trying to force it not to happen. So you're starting now to get tired. It's a whole new element of suffering. The pains are getting deeper. It's cold outside. I think it got down to 41 degrees, so it wasn't so bad. Actually, the weather was beautiful. The weather was beautiful, and the course was absolutely beautiful. It was just amazing. People start to like start picking off. They start like going back to their tents to take a nap, or just sleep and then wake up the next day and run. You're not going to get 100 miles if you break at any point. 100 plus miles is going to require you to be on your feet running on the track the entire time, pretty much at any speed. I mean, you're going to have to, and it's running, walking, but forward movement. And so people start leaving, and now there's not other people out there as much, like spaced in between. You're just out in the woods. It's dark. There's no lighting other than this little Walmart headlamp, which the little Walmart headlamp that I had, at first it came and it didn't have batteries in it. So then I had to like ask for batteries as I was coming through, and it took me a couple rounds actually to have a headlamp to put on, because I had to like run by and like yell at some people and be like, "Hey, do you got some AAAs?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can get them." And I was like, "Give them to me on the round back." So it's like kind of one of them, and the people there are amazing. So the course was beautiful. The sky is amazing, and it gives you a different perspective of like a day. So before I get back into the pain, what the next 6 hours looks like. The first 6 hours of the 24-hour race are painful and wild and crazy, and it's impressive if you can do it, but pretty much the race hasn't started yet. I mean, you're dealing with some pains, you're dealing with some aches, you're dealing with some soreness, you're dealing with being super tired, but like pretty much, I mean, you got your spirit in you. Most people will be able to continue moving through the first 6 hours. I think with forward progression, I think, it's going to be hard and difficult, and definitely it's a massive achievement. Like, and I would say to anybody who does it, like at any speed, walk, fucking crawl, not even running. I'm just saying, like, be out there for 6 hours going around in a 2.5 mile circle is mentally daunting. To stay out there. So, but I want to mention the course. The course is fucking beautiful out there. It's amazing. The sky was beautiful. There's something going on, I think, with the wind or something. It made these crazy clouds. There was a bright moon out there with the stars, and you start to get a little delusional as you're out there running, and so like things just, I mean, really, if you really pay attention, you start to also get like really hyper present to like noticing everything. And it might be that I really think this course is amazing and beautiful. The trees, the sun coming through the trees, the colors in the sky when the sun was going down, and the colors in the sky when the sun was coming up the next morning, and the clouds that came over the sky, and each phase of the sky, and each color on the grass, and each color that was over this lake that you kind of went around, was just amazing. It was just so beautiful out there. It was perfect running weather in my mind. I mean, it did get down to like 41 degrees, but at one point, and it was kind of cold at the end there, but it was just such a beautiful fucking weekend, and such a beautiful, beautiful course. And the people out there are incredible. The people that go out to these races and run these races are some of like the most caring, thoughtful, loving human beings, who really are out. They are really genuinely transparently, organically loving. It's insane. And again, the guy who runs this particular race, Jason Connor, like, this guy will give you a hug that will just, I mean, he'll give you just a hug. He's the race director. He creates the whole thing. This guy, Jason Connor. He gives you a hug, like, he gives you a fucking hug, and it's like the most warming fucking hug you've ever had. Like, you sink into that hug in a way like you've just never sank into a hug in your entire life. And it just has brought back, like, the love that you've been missing out on for the past 30 years. It all comes right into your. So if you have anybody has any trauma or any pain from that, and they just need a little bit of love, go give Jason Connor a hug, dude. he'll give that damn love to you. But I mean, and that was kind of weird, but I'm being serious. I'm being serious. Like, that guy is just genuinely like, he's like, let's fucking go. And it's the nature of the thing you're doing. It's the nature of this insanity that you're putting yourself through that brings these folks, this community of folks that come out, and you can feel this energy. The first time I ever went to an ultra run in general, like, the people there, like, it's such a collective energy of like love and excitement and just inspiration, like, from people, just support. From someone you've never met before. They're just like, look, we're doing it together. I've never met you before, but you're here doing this crazy thing. And so, like, look, like, it's like there's this immediate, like, trust and bonding that happens. Just, it's incredible. And like, so here at the Lions Roar, I'm talking about any ultra marathon and really like fitness in general. But I mean, I'm talking about like where you're going to hell with these people for a bit. All with the same intention. And we'll talk about, like, when is it good to do something like this and when is it bad to do something like this? Because there is a time when running an ultra marathon, well, there is not a time, but there is like where your mind is at before you run the ultra marathon is important, because we're not hurting ourselves to hurt ourselves. We're doing it with the intention of betterment, and that is a key and super important element of this whole thing. So now back to it. So the next 6 hours of this fucking thing is insane. You're in the dark. This is where you're within the next 6 to 12 hours of continuous running. This is where you're going to start seeing like mirages, and you're going to start seeing like, hallucinations. Cause you are now those pains from the first 6 hours, they start migrating all around and they start telling stories. And this is when you have to start really tuning in and becoming what I call violently present. Violently present. That is like you are doing everything you can to stay checked into your body. What kind of pain is this right knee pain? What kind of pain is in my back? Am I getting nauseous? Am I getting lightheaded? Do I feel weak? Because these are all different types of pain that have different types of meaning behind them. Like if I'm getting nauseous, this might mean that I need more carbohydrates, or if I'm getting lightheaded, or if I feel like my muscles are hurting, not because they're inflamed, but because like they're like they're rock hard. If they're about to cramp out, then I need sodium, I need electrolytes. Where am I getting that electrolyte in? How much electrolyte have I had in the last hour? Am I on plan? Situational awareness is super key. So focusing, staying locked in on your body is so important. And so this is where you start having to really do it. You can do the first 6 hours without being super locked in. The second 6 hours, you have to start really doing everything you can to lock in. Because if you're not locked in, if you're not finding a way to be violently present with yourself, your surrounding, your environment, presence. No headphones. I didn't have headphones on. By the way, I did not use headphones or music until the last 2 hours. I wasn't going to have headphones the whole time. Headphones distract you from being violently present. You can't have headphones in. You can't be listening to the fucking news. You can't be listening to your music. You can't be listening to anything. You can't, because it's distracting. That's why you do it right now anyways. It feels good. It distracts you from what's happening in your body. You don't want that. That's actually to the detriment of your progress moving forward. So no music. It's you, yourself, and you and the environment around you. And you're focusing in. Next 6 hours is super important. Because the second 6 hour period to get to 12, it's just dark, you're tired, everything hurts, you want to do it, you're bored as hell, you're just like so fucking bored, you're like, oh my fucking God. And now it's the fight for like, what do I need to do in my mind, in my body? What do I need to do to keep moving forward? How can I put one foot forward? And here's where, this point, this second 6 hours, this point is the transition period where you have to start bringing meaning and purpose to mind. So you have to start the race with a solid meaning and purpose. Like, why am I doing this needs to be clear, because it needs to be powerful, and it needs to be super emotional when you think about it, because you will not continue moving forward. You will not continue pushing yourself through it because it won't have the power. You won't have the power, the energy, you will not have the focus. You will quit. You will quit if you do not have that intention set, that purpose set, and you're not focusing on that purpose and making it a mantra in your head, because the pain is so bad. The pain starts to get so freaking bad. It's like it's everywhere. You can't get away from it. It's like having bugs crawling in your fucking skin. I know I'm selling the ultra marathon, but imagine like you've been running for fucking, you've been running what? Let's just say you've been running 9 hours. You've been running straight for 9 hours in the same 2.5 mile track. You still have, what does that look like? 15 hours left to go. You still have 15 hours ahead of you. You've been going for 9 hours. You feel so much pain in your knees, your ankles, your back, that like this is impossible. You cannot continue. This is going in your mind. This is impossible. This really is impossible. I cannot keep running at this pace. It's impossible. This is way too much pain to continue to endure for another 16 hours. That's this state of mind. I am so tired that I am like, and this is something it's so interesting because I never know how this is ever, after I do it, it's always like, how is this even humanly possible? Because it's so crazy, but it's the power of the mind. It's power of being violently focused, self-awareness, situational awareness, and having a deep, intimate and powerful connection with your why, with your intention of personal growth. But like you get to this moment, maybe you're like 9 hours in, 10 hours in, whatever it is, and you get to this point where it's like it reaches this apex. There's this apex of you're tired and you're like literally falling asleep while you're running, You're like literally falling asleep when you're running. Every single part, every single fiber of your body is in pain. And you're just like, look, I can't do this for another 15 to 16 hours. Like, I can't rationally do it. I can't physically do it. This is literally physically impossible. And at this point, if I keep moving forward, I'm gonna hurt myself. Like, that's what's going on in your head. Like, there's no way that my fucking bone is not going to snap or my muscle is going to separate from the bone. I'm going to have shin splints and I'm not going to be, I got work on Monday and all this stuff. Like, all this shit. Like, these pains in this next 6 hours, it starts to tell stories. And so you've got these stories, and they're really compelling, and they're really rational and logical, and everything. And you're still running, and you're still paying attention to your electrolytes. And for all those who are like technical and want to know like what is the nutrition that you have, like what was my plan? There's people who are coming up to me and asking me in the last bit because they were like, "How the fuck are you still running?" And like, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Dude, I had 24 water bottles that I had set up. That's 16 ounces. Every 2.5 miles, I did 16 ounces of water roughly, with 2 scoops of Trailwind at 200 calories for the Trailwind. I did a banana and a PB&J sandwich on white bread. 2 scoops of peanut butter with 2 teaspoons of peanut butter, 2 teaspoons of jelly. And I ate 1 whole banana, 1 whole PB&J with 2 scoops of Trailwind every hour. That's basically 300 calories total, with about a little over 300 calories. It would be like 300, 350 calories with about 600 milligrams of sodium for the electrolyte and 32 ounces of water per hour. So I kept that pretty straight and never stopped doing that, and that kept me going the whole time. I will probably continue to take that regimen. So nothing crazy, and at the end, like last 6 hours, I was doing like bone broth just because it was really good. It's like, wow, this bone broth was fucking amazing. It was warm, just tasted good. It was really for like the sodium, but I was like, this just tastes good. I didn't need it. I just really wanted it every time I came around. Shout out to my wife for having it ready, because I wouldn't have had it without her. So that's that. But that was so amazing. And it really breathes life into you. You just have this amazing tasting bone broth, or maybe it was just amazing for the day. But anyways, this pain seeps in deep. You get to this apex of suffering in your mind and body. And this is where you will make a decision. You have to make a decision. You don't have a choice. This automates you stay on the track, or you get off and you go lay down, or you go and you're trying to justify every fucking reason why you should get off. And look, there's a million reasons why you should get off that track, and there's only one reason why you should stay on that track and continue to press on. And that reason has to be more powerful. That one reason has to be more powerful than the million reasons why not to continue. And you will search like you never have before for that one reason. Why? Why should I continue moving forward? Why should I continue for the next 15 to 16 hours enduring this fucking suffering that I've never dealt with before in my life? And like I don't even know why I would ever put myself into this. Like, why would I ever be here at this point? It's automated this point in your experience where you either fucking get off or you keep going forward, and you search and you dig and you dig and you dig and you dig. And the more you dig, the more you run forward. All of that shit you thought mattered. Becky calling you a bitch the other day, and that fucked you up for days, and it's all you literally, that became your identity to your friends. Fuck Becky for saying this. Or like that boss that you fucking hate, that just like, God damn it, if I could, dude, I would string that boss up, and I would beat him with a fucking bat that was just nailed down. You think that kind of stuff, that kind of stuff has power? You think that kind of stuff actually has power in your life? That shit melts away quickly. It has zero power in your life. Zero power in your life. You're not even thinking about he ain't thinking about any of them bitches. Like that person who like was like an asshole to you in the fucking, when you're driving to work, you're driving to work and there's that guy beeped at you and you just can't get him out of your head. That person that said something about you on social media, and like that one person, and if you're lucky enough to have them, like none of that shit has any power. All of that shit that you think has a lot of power in your life, like it has no, like that opinion your mom has of you, like fucking, unless like that's why you're there, unless like that's why you're there. But in any case, like the thing is that all of these things, they melt away and they melt away, and you're left with fewer and fewer things that give you power to move forward, all the way to this point where there's only one left. And you think about it, where it's like, if I stop now, I'm letting my purpose down to some degree. I set this purpose before. If you did it right, you set the purpose before you went out. And I'm not, like, how much do you want it? How much do you want the thing how much do you want? How powerful is this thing you say you want? So like any case, like if you really can't dig any deeper and this thing kills you off, right? You leave, you're done. I'm not going to finish. Basically the idea is that's really good, because you got deeper into your purpose. You just found out that the thing you think your life is all about, like, it's not about that. Because if you were there and you set the intention to do this, to find clarity and for what you're doing, what your purpose is, where there's meaning in my life, you will continue moving forward. Because when you think about that thing, it will be powerful enough to move you forward. If it's not powerful enough to move you forward, it's not your real purpose in life. And so now you've learned something very crucially important to your life, which is, you need to find that. You need to find that purpose. You need to find that meaning. What is that thing? Because the thing you're doing, the thing you thought you were doing, the intention you set, the purpose that you set, this means so much to me. This is everything to me. Is that just something you're saying? Because it's really easy to say it, but when you get to the point where there's no physical or mental thing you can do to push forward outside of this purpose, this thing that you set, this thing that you may have found within the first like 10 to 12 hours comes up, you think deeply on it, and it's like, look, it's either once you have that there and it's fixed, I mean, it like sets itself down right in front of you, and it just goes, do you actually want this or not? And just say yes. I just say abso-fucking-lutely. This is exactly what my life is about. This is what I want. I've been spending years to figure this out. I've been spending years, and like, look, I'll let this thing evolve. But basically, what happens is it's like, you either continue moving forward on this track, or you die on this track. And I know how crazy this sounds, but like that, when you truly, truly meet this moment where you say this in your head, because you will not move forward unless you do this. It's like a random Saturday. No one knows you're out there. It's not like you're winning the Olympics. You're not trying to fucking change the world out here. You're trying to fucking find yourself, which in my mind, up front, is the only way you'll ever change the world. But like, you're trying to find yourself, and you're trying to bring meaning to this thing called life. This thing that doesn't inherently have meaning. You have to define and create the meaning yourself. And that's very difficult. And then in this moment, you say, look, I am going to keep moving. I will stay on this track or die. They will have to carry me off this track. But I am not moving. I am not stopping. And when you do that, it's an unbelievable moment of power transfer, where where it's profound in its nature in my mind. Because, and I'm not exaggerating this. Any ultra marathon runner will tell you this. Anyone who's not an ultra marathon runner or has no desire to do running or has no desire to put themselves through this kind of suffering. Look, maybe you can find this in other areas of life and other ways of doing it. This is an automated way of doing it. Like this, you will reach this moment, and there's no way you don't learn something, no matter which decision you make. But when you make the decision to stay on that track, then you made the decision that if my leg breaks in half, so be it. If my fucking heart stops, so be it. If my fucking brain fails me, so be it. If I fucking die because of hypoglycemia, and I mean this fucking sincerely, I don't have a single bit of joke in my fucking, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to say this or communicate this in a way that I can be 100% serious. Like, you will die or continue moving forward for nothing more than for you to define your purpose and your meaning on this fucking planet. That is why you move forward. That is the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters until that point. Your mom doesn't fucking matter. Maybe she does, because maybe that's your purpose. Your dad doesn't matter, whatever. But there's only going to be one thing there. It's going to outpower everything else, because it's not going to be mom. Maybe it could be mom and dad, but probably would be mom or dad, most likely. But in any case, like, hey, and they're both great, but one's pulling a little harder. And it's going to be that one. That's how granular you get. And it is so profound. And if it's there, it has enough meaning to keep you forward. And you'll make that decision to move forward. You will make that decision to move forward. And when you do, all of your energy is now on the fight. All of your energy is on the fight. As soon as you make that decision, all of the energy is on the fight. And now you are violently present. Violently present, because you have to be, because now it's problem solving to continue moving forward. What's going on with my knee? What kind of pain is it? Because it's important. Where am I at on sodium? Do I need more? Where am I at on carbs? Do I need more? Do I need less? Do I need more water? Some more just regular fresh water? Maybe what's my source? How's my nausea going? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Where is it? Is it staying stagnant? Is it the same? How am I doing ingesting food? Where's my everything? That's it. That's the only thing you're paying attention to. That and running and looking at your watch and making sure your heart rate's, where's your heart rate? Where's your pace? Like, how many laps is it going to be with this pace / XYZ? What is it like going up hills? What's it like going down hills? What should be the pace change going up and down hills? What part of the track should you be running on? All of that stuff is the only thing that you're thinking about at that point. All of your energy is on the fight. I'm making it to the end. I'm making it to the end. I'm making it to the end. I will not stop. You become invincible after that first 12 hours. I'm telling you, you become invincible. Maybe not after the first 12 hours, because maybe you somehow managed to make it through the night. 6 a.m., because I'm going to get into this third section. The third section in my mind is like the best section. It's like the best section of the run, because you now have this fucking energy, this superpower energy. The superpower energy just like comes into your life, because you're like, I've made the commitment, and I made the real serious, true commitment. This is not a joke. This is not an exaggeration. This is not me being hysterical. You've made this decision. It's the only way you're still on the track. I don't know how else you're on the track if you haven't made. I don't know how else you're on the track. You are dealing with immense suffering right now. Immense suffering after 12. But like, that immense suffering has no power on you, no power over you, because all of your energy is on the fight. The first 12 hours is hard, because you're like, you have to stop. There's so much more time on the clock. We have shit to do on Monday. There's shit to do on Monday. What if on Monday you're sore? What if you like break your leg and you can't go to work on Monday, and you can't go and talk to Bob, the fucking sales guy who fucking annoys the shit out of you? You've got to have something to bring to him, like the morning paper. And what if you don't wake up on Sunday morning to do the morning paper because God fucking damn it. That's what you're doing. You're doing that in the first 12 hours. None of that in the second 12 hours. It's like bliss, because all you're thinking about is, I will fulfill the fucking purpose. I will be strong enough. I will be strong enough under any conditions to fulfill the thing that I am trying to do in this fucking world. I don't care what the fuck anyone thinks about it. I don't give a shit what you think about it. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks about it. I am fucking going to make it to the end of this. Not for you, not for fucking Instagram, not for any of these stupid fucking idiots out here, or these cool people, these people that you respect and people that you love. I'm not doing it for them either. I'm doing this for me, and I'm going to finish this under any circumstances. And that third 12 hours, the sun starts to come up. It's like 6 a.m. Saturday morning, and the sun starts to come up, and the sky starts to open up, and it's like you've been reborn. It's like being reborn. It's like life floods into your body. Energy floods into your muscles. You're still suffering, but it has no weight. It has no pull. It has no vote. It has nothing. It's just a thing that is. It's just another part of you. There's a mantra that I had in the third that kept going, that had me keep going, and call me crazy. I probably need to be evaluated. But in any case, I had this thing that I said, which was kind of interesting. So here we go, hippie moment. Alert for the hippie moment. So I was going, and, you're dealing with all this pain, right? And I was kind of thinking this. It was like, man, this is super painful. This is extremely painful. And, like a lot of people were asking me afterwards, they were like, because this is not me like tooting my own horn, okay? Like, because I get it with the marathon runners and shit, but like, look, if your fucking buddy who's constantly online talking about how cool he is because he works out, ran 117 miles, that would be his identity for the next that would be his identity. He would push that in your face for the rest of your fucking life. I just did it on the weekend. I want to explain this to you because I think it's useful, and then we won't talk about it again because I don't give a fuck whether or not you know what I'm doing. And if I did, maybe I would have Instagram followers. But like, I don't. So like at the end of the day, I mean, I do care. Like, unfortunately, I'm human. I mean, fortunately, I'm human, but like, unfortunately, like that's part of the thing that you deal with on a regular basis. So of course I do care what you think. So don't take it that way. Just relax and just listen to me for a second. Jesus Christ, you guys are working yourself up on the other side of this camera. Basically the idea is that fucking thing comes out. The sun comes out. You get the fucking energy in. You're ready to fucking go. You're doing it for fucking you. And you keep moving forward. Okay, that's that second one. Because I got off into I lost my train of thought because I got off into a tangent about why like you should relax. But that second one is intense. The mantra was this. The mantra to get past that from that third 6 hours session, so getting into like 18 hours to the finish line, was the universe is made of atoms and molecules. The universe is made of atoms and molecules, and I'm made of atoms and molecules. So if the universe is made of atoms and molecules, the grass, the trees, the sky, the air, and I'm made of molecules, like my organs, my blood, my lungs, my bones, my brain, it's all molecules and atoms, then pain is a result of these atoms. Pain is a projection, maybe an illusion that's caused by the communication of these atoms. And so pain is not something that I'm experiencing. Pain is something that I am. Like, pain is literally just something that I am, not something that I'm experiencing. So why should pain, just pain? Because I'm running. I've got my electrolytes in. I've got my carbs in. I've got like water in. I'm hydrated. I was trying to overhydrate towards the end just to make sure that I wasn't losing. And I'm like, it was just fine. I was just slightly overhydrated, like towards the end. And so why should I stop because of pain? Pain's nothing. Pain's not doing anything. I mean, pain's just the inflammation at this point. So why should I stop? I mean, it's intense. It's fucking crazy. It hurts really bad. But why would I stop? Why would I stop because of that? Like, why would I give that a vote? Why would that have any impact on what I do, this pain? Because it's what I am. It is me. Pain is me. I am pain. I don't experience pain. I am pain. And that was probably unhealthy, but I think that got me through a lot of it. And it sort of like to some degree makes sense. I told that to somebody and they were just like, They're like, yeah, I don't think that would motivate me. I was like, I don't know if it was a matter of motivation at that point, but I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. In any case, that was something that got me through that third. The last 6 hours, you've been going for 18 hours and you got 6 hours. I mean, what's hilarious is that at that point, like, you really are. It really is. It is like a superpower that you have. You're numb to this pain. All of your energy is on the fight. You start to like think deeply on your surroundings. I was running with a guy, Will Metcher, and I mention him from time to time. He's an executive coach of mine. I've had him coaching me, keeping me accountable to shit for business for a while. And I was running with him. He did it. Shout out. Like, I believe he got like 75 miles. I'm not 100% sure on that. But we're running, and this actually happened in the beginning, but he said this. He said, I'm just going to focus on gratitude. I'm just going to focus on gratitude. I'm just going to stay grateful for, like, we have the ability to do this. We have the ability to be out here. We paid to be here. We have the resources to be here. We have the body to be here. We have the mind to be here. Like, it's such a beautiful course. Like, it's just a privilege to be here, and I'm just grateful for the experience. And he said that to me, and I thought deeply on that right away when he said that, and I was like, that's really good. Gratitude, because gratitude brings you to the present moment. You have to start thinking about, and what you've been able to accomplish so far. It takes you away from the future. Gratitude. Be grateful for something you don't have yet. So like it kind of takes you from thinking into the future and thinking more on like what you've been able to accomplish, and just like what's currently around. So like that last 6 hours was just gratitude, just so unbelievably grateful for the opportunity to still be running, still be going, and still have people in my life that are inspired by that when they see that, and it helps them run harder, and it helps them go get after shit in their life, and it helps my employees, and it inspires my wife, and it inspires, maybe people back home. Who knows? Most people are probably just annoyed with me from back home. I don't know. Shout out to people who are watching this from back home. If you're watching it, love you to death. If you're not watching it, then I don't even know why I'm spending any words right now saying that. But my guess is probably mostly annoyed. But in any case, like, it's I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful, and I hope that anything that I do helps you in any way, shape, or form, and just grateful. And I was really able to spend hours of just thinking on things deeply about the gratitude I have for it. And I don't spend 6 hours straight, like, on that kind of intensity, on being in that kind of intensity, thinking about how grateful I am for everything, because you have to be violently present. You have to be violently present. I want to use that word because I think it's so interesting. Like, violently, what are you doing? You're like basically taking your conscious awareness and like choking it into the present moment. Like, you're gonna stay here, bitch. We ain't going nowhere else. But your body just hurts so bad that you can't lose your presence, because you'll lose your body. You'll lose your situational awareness, and your body will fail. So you have to stay on top of your body. So you have nothing to do but to be violently present. Anything that starts to take your presence, you choke that bitch back into the present moment. So just being extremely grateful and having the opportunity really to be in a place where, like, that's the only thing I can do right now is just to be thinking deeply on all the things I'm extremely grateful for. And it's a profound, like, when you finish on the next few days of thinking about that last 6 hours, where you're just, it's like, man, the things that were getting at me melted away, gone. Because, like, I've been able to spend so much time thinking so deeply on everything I'm so grateful for, that, like, is this, I lost some business. Is that going to fuck me up? Like, late on a bill, is that going to kill me? Like, this person doesn't particularly like me. Fuck your opinion, like, just doing my best, trying to serve everybody. So if you don't like me, fuck you. I don't really care. And not really fuck you. Good for you. What you think is not my business. And I don't mean to say fuck you. I mean, just fuck fuck you, like, fuck you, fuck off. No, yeah, fuck you. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care because I don't even really know. So, like, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just think, like, wow, how useful that is. And so that's why I started with existentialism, because it's like you created your purpose before you got into this thing and you strengthened it, if anything, but you got really clear on it. You had to be clear, and it automates the process. And so you can find meaning in suffering, okay? Meaning and peace and suffering. And I'm going to go through now and explain some of this stuff I just talked about. I finished the race on my fastest mile. So when I finished the race, it's kind of funny. I finished with 1:15. I hit my goal. There was about 21 minutes left, and Jason goes, "You got time for one more lap." And I was like, yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go do one more lap. I'm going to basically just do an extra. Get 17.5. Let's go. 1:17.5. And I start running, and as I start getting into the loop, the last 2.5 mile loop, I realized that means I have to run a 9-minute and 30-second mile, which I was averaging at like roughly 12-minute miles, like 12:30 miles to get 1:15 in 24 hours. And so like when he said that, I was like, holy shit. Like I'm gonna do this. I was like excited. Let's go. I started. When I got around the first corner, I looked at my watch and I was like, that means I have to do 9 30-minute miles, which means I have to like basically sprint. And my body was destroyed. So I took the last water bottle. I was like, I didn't have any weight on me. So I took my last water bottle, chugged it down, and just fucking went. I just started picking my knees up. I looked at my watch and I was like, I'm gonna get my speed up to 9:30. I'm gonna keep it. And I just kept going and going, dude. I just sprint the whole thing, sprint the hills, sprint the up and down the hills, just sprint through the long straights, sprint the curves. Just everybody I'm passing on the run, I'm just waving at them. I'm just saying, let's go, you fucking got this. I'm running down the way, man. And I got there with 1 minute to spare. I got there. I did it in 20 minutes. 2.5 miles, I did it in 20 minutes. With 1 minute to fucking spare through the starting line. So if you go to my Instagram, you will see, and I'm running through the starting line. There was like 1 minute left. It was like 1 or 2 minutes left to spare. When you see me run through, and it's like a hard run through, and people are like, how in the fuck did you do that? You were just running for 24 hours. That was my fastest mile. It's because you're like invincible at that point. You're so intensely present. You've tapped into a part of your brain I don't know you have access to until you do something like this. And it's like you're fucking invincible. And I think that last mile was the thing that made me puke when I got back to the hotel. I think that was definitely the case. Puked like everything out. I puked the last 30 years of my life out just in one fucking, one go when I got back to the hotel. But you finish through, you finish through, and on your fastest mile after 24 hours of running, I felt like my muscles were detached from the bone, like it was coming off the bone. But like during that run, it was so intensely painful. But it was like fuck yeah, and you get through. And here's the craziest thing about it. Now listen to me here. Here's the craziest thing about it. You'd be like, oh my God. So like you just did 117.5 miles. You must be like, your body must be so fucking wrecked and beat up and destroyed. Like you probably couldn't move for days, right? Like, oh my gosh. No, man, like it was one day of soreness on Sunday. Like I woke up the next day, I ate some breakfast. I was particularly hungry, took the day off on Sunday, back to work on Monday, full day, trained people on my feet. Got back to my first 3-mile run on Tuesday. Nice, easy run. It's a recovery week, 10 miles on Saturday. I got 10 miles on Saturday at the Tough Mudder. I'm not saying, again, I'm not tooting my own horn. That's not what I'm doing. What I want to emphasize is that immense pain that literally felt like it's life ending didn't end my life. The pain that was like, I'll never be able to use my knee again. Hey, craziest fucking thing. Knee still works. Back still okay. Brain's intact. Didn't die. Whitney, I thought. No muscle tears. Right now, I feel pretty good. I mean, look, it'll still take a few weeks to be fully recovered from something like that. Like, you definitely take recovery seriously. I'm not saying don't take recovery seriously, but what I'm saying is I didn't die, and pretty functional. Less than 48 hours later, I'm back at work. I'm getting after it. That was a weekend. You can do it. You can do it, especially if your purpose is killer and you're super intentional, and you have solid, let's say, power. Like, you have just a super in-depth emotional relationship with this purpose, these intentions, your core values, all that stuff that we talk about. And it's profound. And this is why I think everybody should do it. This is why I think everybody should give this a shot. So to finish this off, I want to kind of go through a couple of things with you here on why this makes sense. This isn't me just like explaining to you what my mental illness is and like how you should join me in my mental illness in the pain cult of ultramarathon running. That's not what this is about. There is actual science on this post-traumatic growth. I want to talk about some stuff from Viktor Frankl's book, A Man's Search for Meaning, the definition of and the different parts of existentialism, and how this makes sense, how this helps you find a greater purpose, how this actually helps your mental health, how this makes you actually a mentally healthier person. And so this is basically it here. So just going to kind of run through this and I'll finish on post-traumatic growth and the science around post-traumatic growth, and how like self-induced suffering like this has been found to have massive improvements in your mental health and in your ability to feel successful and fulfilled, and the pragmatic reason, like the reason why this actually makes sense. Why does it help you with your mental health? Like, because of these things. And so let's kind of talk about that first here. So I want to talk about like meaning. So I was talking about like how you find meaning in your purpose. You find meaning in your intention. Like, you can set an intention. Does that mean it's meaningful? What you make meaningful is meaningful. Here is Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl is a renowned Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor. And that's important. If you've not read the book, A Man's Search for Meaning, basically Viktor Frankl survives the Holocaust, and he basically makes, he talks about his accounts of witnessing the horrors that he saw in these Nazi death camps. And he's a founder of logotherapy, a form of existential analysis. Viktor Frankl is the best known for his book, A Man's Search for Meaning, in which he recounts his experiences as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps during World War II and explores the human quest for meaning in the face of suffering. Through his observations and reflections, Viktor Frankl developed a profound understanding of human resilience, the importance of finding purpose in life, and the capacity for individuals to find meaning even in the most difficult circumstances. His work has had lasting impact in the psychological, philosophical, and the existential thought realm. So like he's very impactful in those areas because this motherfucker survived the Holocaust. So I think that people have it bad. Oh, this is particularly interesting right now. Like for like Israel basically killing the shit out of these Palestinian people. And like with the Hamas and shit terrorists over there. Look, like if you're like an anti-Semite or something, just take the fucking principle, okay? Jesus Christ. These people get worked up, Trey. All right, so anywho, this is his quote. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. And in his book, he's seeing people die. He's seeing people become so hopeless that they die, that they starve, that like he loses his wife. He loses everything. He has nothing. He has pain. He has starvation. He has death. He has calamity. That's it. And there's no hope. You're just waiting to get killed, waiting to get shot in the head, waiting to get hung, waiting to be made an example of, waiting to starve, waiting to be humiliated. Nothing left. Everything stripped from you. And still, he finds a way to find meaning in that book. You should read that book. I'm not going to do like a synopsis, but you should read that book. It's insane. Look, I don't know. You probably have it pretty bad, but I don't think you have it as bad as being in the fucking Holocaust. Okay? So you have like this opportunity, and this opportunity is basically to make a choice and decision and create your purpose and create meaning out of anything, no matter how bad your situation is. You can find meaning. That's what this book is all about, and the importance of it. Like, it is super important that you find a meaning in the shit that you're going through. It is super, super important, and it's powerful, and actually, it is better than not. If you don't have suffering, it's going to be difficult for you to win. And if you don't have it, so whatever bit of suffering you have, whatever suffering means to you, like, you can make meaning, you can create meaning out of it. And that's basically what that whole book is about. And then he literally creates that framework for you. He gives you all of these stories, and then it's just an amazing book. But this is like why people are putting themselves through these ultra marathons, and why it can be so useful to you. And you don't even have to be an athlete. Like, literally, it's just unbelievably useful for your life. And so this is like the meaning part. Now we'll talk about the existentialism. So I started with the definition. I'm going to end with basically the key concepts in existentialism. So, you know what, guys? Look, I'm going to do another podcast where I go through existentialism, because I think that we pretty much covered that in the story as I stop from time to time. I'd rather go over to finish right now. Where are we at right now, Trey? Hour 15? Yeah, so we're a little bit over. So in any case, I'm gonna actually get to that. I'm gonna actually get to existentialism on a different one, and we can dive into existentialism, but like what the definitions are, because I will talk another hour on existentialism. But just to kind of bring it back around, the idea is just that it's finding the importance in the personal responsibility of like creating meaning out of everything that happens in your life, because there is no innate meaning. There is no such thing as this is meaningful. This is a meaningful thing. That's the idea, at least, is that like we are here on this planet for no real reason, there's no real meaning to life. Life adopts the meaning that you create for it. So if for you, life's meaning is victimhood, well then that is what life is about for you. Like, you live a life of suffering in a way that you look at it negatively, and it tortures you, but really you're torturing yourself, because you are the one who've attached the meaning of suffering, the meaning of victimhood, because you are a victim to your trauma. You are not strengthened by it, which is just the decision. You are strengthened by your traumas. You're strengthened by your hardship. You're strengthened by your trials and your challenges. You're strengthened. But it's all a matter of you. It comes down to your ability to harness the awareness of like whether or not you're setting these intentions, and whether or not you're diving into like your traumas and where they came from and that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get into that kind of stuff and kind of get like hoo boo 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 with this shit. What I'm trying to tell you though is that on a day-to-day basis, you think about the things that hurt you. And if you don't think about them in a way that it helps you, then it's not going to. That's it. Gosh, I gotta start talking differently here, especially at the 115. I should really be like, look, everything is going to be okay. You don't have to do anything, and you'll be super successful. It's like that. It should be. That's literally going to be the way I'm going to start going. I'm just going to be like, look, why find meaning in anything, dude? Just go to Starbucks. All right, so this last part. So this last part is post-traumatic growth. So post-traumatic growth refers to a positive psychological change experienced as a result of struggling with highly challenging life crises and traumatic events. And who would have thought? Sometimes it's self-induced, sometimes it's not self-induced. If you deal with self-induced trauma with the intention of betterment, usually you get better. If you deal with trauma, self-induced, with the intention to get worse, you get worse. So that's not like cutting your wrist and like tying your hands behind your back and throwing yourself down a staircase. that usually doesn't work in helping you any. So we don't want you to be putting yourself in pain for pain's sake. We want you to be putting yourself in pain so that you have to overcome something and find meaning in the things that color your life beautiful. And that is why we say to do these type of things. Research has shown that individuals who experience traumatic events can exhibit positive changes in various aspects of their life, such as personal strength, relationships, appreciation for life, existential and spiritual beliefs. Some of the key findings and factors associated with post-traumatic growth include, resilience, or the ability to bounce back from adversity is often associated with PTG, which is post-traumatic growth. Individuals who are resilient may be likely to experience growth following trauma. Cognitive processing, engaging in active cognitive processing of the traumatic events, such as finding meaning or making sense of the experience, is linked directly to people who have self-induced and non-self-induced traumas, but that grow afterwards, which is the intention, very much setting the intention. No matter how bad your trauma is, you find meaning to give you a purpose in life. That is the intention. You focus on that. It is a daily focus, but because you're not just going to have a bad trauma and be like, that's good. Like you get raped and you're just like, thank you. Yeah, thank you. If you're wondering why I looked up and then I did a nod, it's because we got to wrap this bitch up. Social support, personal factors, spirituality, and existential beliefs. We went through that before. I'm not going to go through the meanings again. This is the idea, though. Really, the idea is this. And I'll put the stuff down in the description because we went way too much over time here. But look, post-traumatic growth is good. Everybody should do an ultra marathon. And I don't know. I'm probably right, but I could be wrong. In any case, if you want to know where to go to learn how to train for one of these, if you want to train before, I don't think you have to, but that's just my own personal opinion, then give me a call. I'll fucking tell you. I will tell you free of charge. Call my phone number, 815-993-4394. That's my personal number. Kind of crazy, but just call it. Call that number, dude. I'll fucking talk to you and tell you exactly how the fuck you can get there. It's going to help your life so fucking much, dude. It's insane. Especially if you're lost right now, you're dealing with stuff. Like, you're going to become a fucking champion if you do this. So, that's it. That's 117 miles in under 24 hours. That's what the experience is sort of like. I still sort of process this myself. It's extremely useful, but only if you set positive intentions. So, that's it. That's the last thing I'm going to say here, guys. We will see you on the next one. We have some stuff planned for you in the future here. It's going to be good. Follow, subscribe, do all that stuff that all those Instagram influencers tell you to do that you're aware of. And thank you for watching. It is fucking amazing that you listened this far. If you did, you're fucking awesome. Grateful for you. Grateful for Trey. Grateful for life. And grateful to keep winning. And always remember, think big. Live better. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.